Father in heaven, be with us throughout this midday power surge is our prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Greetings, salutations to Safe to Serve International and first-time viewers. Welcome to this midday power surge. This is your spiritual oasis on this pilgrim journey. I'm your host, Andrew Henriquez, on this Friday, November 10th, Preparation Day. Welcome one, welcome all to this midday power surge. Today's presentation is going to be part one of a three-part series. Tomorrow, for the sermon message on the Sabbath, I'll give you part two and address the experience more so in depth, the spiritual experience and practical preparation. For Bible class tomorrow, I'll give you the final presentation in the series. Now today, as we go throughout this lesson, pay attention to a special application. I liken this special application onto someone in the kitchen making a dish, maybe bean stew, legumes, black-eyed peas, garbanzo, lentils, red beans, red peas for some of us, string beans, whatever. But notice, it is a special ingredient that makes the dish. Sometimes you put cumin. By the way, if you put cumin in a dish for me, I'll take it as an insult. Ask my wife. I don't like that spice and seasoning. That's one of her favorites. It could be tomato sauce. It could be turmeric, or one of my top seasonings and special ingredient, coconut milk. Yes. So notice now, as we go throughout this presentation, what will be that special application, the special ingredient. Brothers and sisters, the total digital only society is going to destroy the U.S. Constitution, our religious and civil freedom. The global digital only society is going to destroy the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. And thirdly, don't miss this, my friends, leading up to 1888, when a Sunday law was making its way through the Senate in Congress. Do you realize that surveillance was also linked to the Sunday law in 1888? All right, friends. So a digital-only society, which is a total surveillance, must come first before the mark of the beast is enforced. The mark of the beast, Sunday worship by law, with persecution for all dissenters. Are we ready now? Let's get right into this. Clip one.
Clearly, we are witnessing right now the Chinification of Europe, because we see what is happening in China right now with the social credit score, where the government is monitoring and surveilling all the people from the beginning to end. Everything that they do, everything, everywhere where they walk, they control everything and they watch everything. This is the example of a tyranny. When the government knows everything about you, where you go, what you eat, where you enter, that's the tyrannical system. And we've seen this system being implemented right now under the leadership of Ursula von der Leyen, slowly but surely in the European Union. The green certificate was just the first step. There are a few more proposals right now under debate in the parliament. The European wallet ID, for example, the European social security card. All these things that are creating a system that will monitor, control, supervise, and condition the rights of all the European citizens. Just yesterday, before yesterday actually, on Monday, in the plenary, we had the Commissioner for Work. And he said, well, we need the European Social Security card, number, pass, as he called it, certificate, to facilitate the freedom of movement. You know, we heard this before with the green certificate.
The pandemic. Friends, as the Bible says, and that is a member of parliament in Europe, and I believe he and people like him, their mindset is going to allow them to take the steps to leave Babylon and join with God's commandment-keeping people. We keep him and others in our prayers. In 1 John chapter 2 and verse 18, the Bible speaks about a time when the Antichrist will come. And the Bible says even now, there are many Antichrists in the world. So we may know we are living in the last days. And the Antichrist, is contrary, is counterfeiting Jesus Christ, even God's attributes, and three primary traits of God. One, omnipotence, all power. Omnipresence, what is that? Being everywhere at the same time. Omniscience, knowing everything. And that is exactly what the digital-only society is going to reveal. They will have total control of the masses. Yes, they will be everywhere because we're connected to their grid. I want to call it their tentacles of Mother Octopus. And number three, they are going to know everything. It's connected to popery, the Chinification of Europe and the rest of the world. And Popper says that China is the model of their common good. What are the tools of a new world order, which the Bible calls the mark of the beast system? Listen.
See, I think if you think what are the tools of the new world, everybody should have a digital ID, everybody should have a bank account, everybody should have a smartphone.
That's the internet.
Then anything can be done. Everything else is built on that.
The access to the internet. And now we have the United Nations launching what they call 50 in 5 years. 50 nations going totally digital. No other option. By 2028, it's called DPI, Digital Public Infrastructure. It's right there, my friends. 50 countries in the next 5 years, 2028. And we know, watch carefully, the DPI, there it is. What three things comprise the DPI? A digital ID, digital payments, that's CBDC, data exchange, access to the internet, their web of deception. And the DPI is connected to popery. He gives the IMF their marching orders. And don't forget IMF. I'll come back to them. And the World Bank. And once he gave them their marching orders, then they launched the digital public infrastructure, leading us to a digital-only society. No other option. The new economic order, says the man of sin. He is the puppet master. Yesterday after midday power surge, brothers and sisters, we can see Babylon is fallen, She makes the nations rich. It will lead to the enslaving of the masses. The digital-only society will lead to slavery. All right, that's it. And popery has been the backbone of the slave trade. I'm not making this up. Yesterday after midday power surge, look what became breaking news. European digital identity. The EU to launch, to vote on a digital ID wallet. That's it, friends. How many nations comprise the EU? There are 27 nations. Now, there they are, friends. You can pause the video and look at these countries. 27 nations comprise the European Union. Look at it now. And what has been the movement of the UN? 50 nations in 5 years. What? To go totally digital. Do the calculation. What is 27? Subtracted from 50. That's 23. More countries to go. So when this is passed in the EU, they have already covered half of the goal. 50 nations in 5 years. You're scratching your head? Friends, as Jesus said in John 13:27, what thou doest, do quickly. because Testimonies for the Church, volume 9 and page 11 says, final movements will be rapid ones. Wake up. Look at this, friends. There it is. And the European Union digital identity system is linked to individuals' driver's license, diplomas, yes, diplomas, and your bank account. And here is the nail in their coffin. That very statement, linking it to your bank account, is actually goal number 1 of Agenda 2030. It's right there, friends. This is from the EU's website. Where's in the red box? It's right there. The European Digital ID, the wallets, is linked to what? Driving license, diplomas, bank account. There it is on the screen. Number 1, no poverty. Let's blow that up. There it is, friends. Number 1, it says digital IDs linked with bank or mobile money accounts. Or launching to what year? 2030. That's it. There it is, friends. They are ramping up their steps. Yes, accelerating the progress to 2030. 50 nations in the next 5 years. This is another member of parliament. He was actually in the meeting with the other EU member states. Rob Roos, hear what he says. This is a big deal. My friends, he says it is tyrannical. It is inimical to our liberties. As a matter of fact, he is going to quote words stating that the actual leader of the EU also said, since we now have the digital ID, the digital wallet, now we need something to put in the wallet. What is that? What do you put in your billfold? What do you put in your wallet? What do you put in your purse? Many items, but also what? Money. CBDC? Watch this.
I just left the room where we had the negotiations about the digital identity. And I have bad news. The member states and the European Parliament came to an agreement. That means that probably not far from now, the digital identity will be effect in the European Union. Right after this agreement, Commissioner Breton said, now we have the digital identity wallet, we have to put something in it. And what he meant was the digital euro, also known as the central bank digital currency.
It's all connected. Let me give you a clip too, because now they are going to vote on it. But remember, the EU will pass it, whether this time or the next time around, because it's a part of Agenda 2030, and the Pope is the great puppet master. Clip 2.
And this is a very bad development. They always promise us not to make this connection. And even a lot of experts, privacy experts and security experts, warned also last week this is a very bad idea for our privacy and our freedom. And still, this digital identity is pushed through. But it's not too late, because we still have to vote on this in the plenary. So what you can do, send your MEP from your member state an email and tell him or tell her that you are against this tool.
MEP Rob Roos is going to be enacted this time or the next time around, 50 in 5 years, and before 2030. It's all connected. And the WEF, the World Economic Forum, has been pushing and promoting a digital-only society because Klaus Schwab, WEF say, welcome to 2030. You own nothing and you will be happy. Why did I remind you of that statement? Because the same WEF platform stated the digital ID, it is exclusionary by nature. What does that mean? in their own words. It's right there, friends. There it is. Exclusionary by nature. It leads to surveillance and persecution of individuals or groups, end quote. Because some folks think it's a good idea. It's like, yes, the best thing since sliced bread, as we would say colloquially. It is draconian. Look at the screen, WEF again. Again, they're telling us the digital ID, listen, it is going to determine what products, services, information we can access. Or conversely, what is closed off to us. Look at what are some of these things. I've covered this not infrequently, ad nauseum. Look at the things that we are not going to be able to access. If you don't join and yield to Satan's system. All right, friends, take a look at this. Listen attentively. All right? The counterfeit, omnipotence, omnipresence, and omniscience.
I'm glad you mentioned the Chinese social credit score system. That is ultimately the vision. And the Financial Times inadvertently maybe revealed that just recently in an article. They said that as they roll out CBDCs, these are going to have to be tied to a national digital ID that's going to contain private information about every individual, including their credit information and other data. And so at the World Economic Forum, they've been talking about this now for several years. They want to be able to regulate what you purchase with your central bank digital currency, which is only possible if it's connected to your digital ID. They want to regulate how much CO2 you're emitting, which will be possible once all these systems are connected. So this is coming very, very rapidly. And it's not just in the EU.
My friend, it's all connected. Do you remember several months ago, I've been sharing with you how the CEO of Alibaba once said that we'll be able to monitor our carbon or personal carbon emission? Nothing is free, not even the air we breathe and the air we exhale. It's all connected. Clip 2. Now, sometimes I speed things up because sometimes they speak too slow for me sometimes. There it is, friends. What are we told? The final movements are going to be rapid ones in the context of the economy, a digital central bank currency. And we're told the agencies of evil will be combining their forces and consolidating. What is a digital-only society? They're consolidating every aspect, facets of society and our lives. Clip 2.
Very, very rapidly. And it's not just in the EU. There are now at least a dozen states in the United States that are pushing forward.
Where? In America.
Very, very rapidly. And it's not just in the EU. There are now at least a dozen states in the United States that are pushing forward with digital IDs. And I just flew through Des Moines 2 or 3 days ago. They're now accepting digital IDs at the TSA. So this will be here very soon, again, if people don't stop it. What we have here is kind of a fusion of state and corporate power being used to bring this system into place with the digital IDs, with the digital currencies, and really the digitization of absolutely everything, Josh. And what people
Not only state power and the merchants, but Pope is at the top. Some folks might ask, where in America do we see that news report? That America is also promoting and pushing and about to implement a digital ID. Look for yourself right there. This is from congress.gov. It's right there, friends. Improving Digital Identity Act of 2023. All right. It's here, friends. It's here. There it is, friends. You can pause the video and mentally consume that. All right, let me move on quickly. There it is. And first, notice, I want everyone to note this. Pin it. Don't forget this. What the EU is now promoting, a digital ID, is not going to be only for the EU. It's going to be something that is global. Look at these words. YDPI. It says digital public infrastructure, which refers to a secure and, watch this word, interoperable network of components. What components? Digital ID, CBDC, and access to the internet. It's called interoperable. 50 in 5, top left of your screen. 50 in 5, inoperable. My friends, this is going to be the speech from the vice president or vice secretary of the IMF. She says, CBDC cannot be fragmented. CBDC cannot be only national. It must be interoperable, meaning every nation is brought into one system. What do we call that? A one world government. Listen to this. Watch. Here it is.
My second point is that if we are to be successful, CBDCs could not be fragmented national propositions.
Can't.
To have transactions more efficient and fairer, we need systems that connect countries. In other words, we need interoperability. And for this reason, at the IMF, we are working hard on the concept of a global CBDC platform to trade and to manage risks. And my colleague, Tobias Adrian, will talk more about it later in the day.
Did you hear that, friends? So what is the 50 in 5? It's not just having a digital society in one nation. No, it's a one world government. 50 in 5 years, interoperable. Friends, this is a fulfillment of Daniel chapter 2. Oh, I wish the time would afford me to dig deeper into Daniel 2. Verse 40 through verse 45. Do you not see 10 toes? It's not one toe. It's 10 toes. It's fragmented. But now they'll be mingling. One world government, one world religion, one world economy. Why economy? Because every part of the image represent metals, precious metals, gold, silver. Come on, friends.
And what we're seeing in the
Hold on. It's clear. Let me preface this. Now we're going to hear what is being said of the digital money can also be said of the digital ID because you're all connected 50 in 5 years. All right. Now, note this point. We're being told that the digital society, CBDC, will destroy constitutions. It will destroy national sovereignty. By extension, it will destroy individual sovereignty. We will need a new constitution. Why would we need a new constitution? Because the digital-only society will trump national constitutions. Listen to this.
And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens.
Listen.
In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights if we're going to have digital money.
Why? Not only for the money, but for the ID. Why? It trumps national sovereignty. I have one question for you. Who will be behind this? Volume 5, page 451. We have been told, beginning in America, they will repudiate every principle of our Constitution as a Protestant and Republican government. One question for you. Here it is. Are you ready?
And the title of this session, are we ready for a new world order?
My friends, are we ready? Now, let us get to our special ingredient, the cumin. Yes, the tomato sauce, the coconut milk, stewed down with my garbanzo beans. Here it is, my friends. Let's take a look at the 4th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Will a digital-only society trump repudiate, make null and void the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Of course, they would know everything about you without having the need to get a warrant. By the way, I won't spend time to read all of this. You know the Fourth Amendment. Here is A.T. Jones. A.T. Jones writes, now we should like to know, A.T. Jones, great famous church historian. In Congress, there was going to be a Sunday law in the year 1888, and he argued against it in 1888 before Congress. Hear what he writes. Now we should like to know how the Sunday law people are going to be able to tell whether or not anybody is doing any private work in his home on Sunday unless they enter into that person's home to see, or else set spies upon him. Spies, that's surveillance, spies upon him and his home to detect whether he does such work or not. A.T. Jones writes, this petition, therefore, does ask that the private affairs and the homes of American citizens shall on Sunday be made subject to the invasion and the bigoted surveillance of the Sunday law meddlers. Listen, but our fathers supposed they had enough of that to last them and their children through all time to come, when they threw off the yoke of England. And they therefore expressed their mind to that effect when they declared in Article number 4 of the United States Constitution that the right of the people to be secure in their persons. Don't track me. Houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, end quote. A.T. Jones. That petition is contrary to this provision of the Constitution. There can be no honest dispute. Under this government, every man's house is his castle. He's Lord there, and no man, no set of men on this earth has any right whatever to invade the privacy of that home. The government itself cannot do it. It is forbidden to do it except upon a warrant issued in proper form. And then he quotes the rest of the Fourth Amendment. End quote. He continues, therefore, it is proved by this count also that the petition for a national Sunday law, which is being circulated by the American Sabbath Union, does ask Congress to do an unconstitutional thing. And any bill proposed in Congress embodying this part of the petition will be an attempt to do an unconstitutional thing. The fact is that the whole Sunday law scheme, which is now so extensively worked, is nothing else than an attempt to carry into effect here that same despotic spirit of religious meddling in civil things that has been the bane of all nations but this one. And this one has been free from it only since the formation of the national constitution and of the national government by it. Read all of this. It's the American Sentinel, January 2nd, 1890. Page 4, paragraph 6 to paragraph 8. So here's my question. Based on what we just read, what is the Pope calling for to combat climate change and to fix the economy? Is it not Sunday rest by law? Sunday worship by law. How then will Popery and her allies know who is resting, know who is worshiping, know who is going along with the so-called modified lifestyle of the church and state union if they don't have surveillance, total omnipotence, counterfeit, omnipresence, counterfeit, omniscience, counterfeit, surveillance? How does the special ingredient taste? Now, it's not cumin. It might be dill or sweet basil. How does the special ingredient taste, my friends? Here it is. And at COP28 coming, what is the Pope calling for? All people to modify their lifestyles. I covered this before. There it is. To rest on the Sabbath that they call Sunday. I won't play that. Off my screen. A few seconds. Listen, COP28.
But our focus is especially on two things, on two particular issues. First of all is lifestyle.
Hold on. I won't play anymore.
It's not
Lifestyle? What is the Pope calling for? What lifestyle must be modified? It's right there. Rest, to combat climate change, to care for nature, to combat pestilences. Rest? It's called ecological conversion. Rest on what day? To change your lifestyle. It's right there. Last phrase, rest on the Sabbath. How will they know that, friends? How will they know that? Sundays, how will they know that? There has to be surveillance. The global digital ID, CBDC, 50 countries in 5 years, all marshalling to 2030. Here's Malcolm Roberts, another member of parliament, but in the land down under. He tells us it's slavery, a digital ID system with no other option. Malcolm Roberts, speak.
The World Economic Forum is meant to be dismissed as a so-called conspiracy theory. If that's the case, why is the Federal Liberal Party copying its policies? Scott Morrison's so-called Trusted Digital Identity Bill is a copy-paste directly from the World Economic Forum's Global Digital Identity Project. It's designed to shift the global economy away from private ownership into what the World Economic Forum calls an access model, where you own nothing and instead rent goods and services from the world's billionaires and billionaire corporations. In other words, the goal of digital identity is a life via subscription. Without assets and ownership, Australians will have no power over government, nor any power over the corporations that want to control people's lives. In their eyes, this will help the world live sustainably. But in reality, it's a form of slavery to a closed-loop economy where you have less and the rich have more, way more.
A life of slavery? So how could we applaud digital ID and CBDC? You can applaud its slavery. Now, there are 2 more clips, but remember, it's part 1 of a 3-part series. I can't give you everything right now. So who is going to oversee the global digital ID and CBDC? I won't play that.
Travel.
Who? I'll give you this one. Back to the IMF. Listen.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So if it's kind of this kind of platform, it could be like a kind of lake. So this with an access to different countries. So I am thinking, who is going to regulate this big lake?
Yes.
Data lake, and how to react or to intervene in case of systemic risk.
Yeah, who will oversee this? Clip 2, quickly.
Now, I think the IMF can play a role in the governance because the IMF is truly multilateral and has this very, very deep connection to its membership via the Articles of Agreement.
He doesn't know.
But of course, the IMF is not in and of itself a bank or an operational place. So anything like that would have to be operated by some other entity.
Which other?
It could be an existing institution. The BIS, of course.
Which other entity has a bank? Have you ever heard of the Vatican Bank? Which other entity has a bank? let us not speculate, but go to Bible prophecies. Do you remember in the Bible? It says there is a harlot that sits upon many waters. Clip 3 as I close.
Yes, absolutely. So it is a big lake, but there are many different waters in the lake. So the central bank.
So who is going to control the waters? Waters in the Bible represent peoples. Revelation 17, verse 15. And who does the Bible say will oversee the nations? It's the harlot. It's Pope, brothers and sisters. Yes, here it is.
Torres warns that the EU's new digital ID is the next step in a process in which the government in Brussels will micromanage every aspect of people's lives.
This is what makes the difference.
Yes, sir.
Between a tyranny and democracy.
Tell us.
When you know everything about what your government does, that's democracy. When the government knows everything about you, that is tyranny.
That's what? That's tyranny. And what says volume 5, page 711? Expect tyranny at the son of the law, the mark of the beast in America. Tyranny. Tyranny. Yes, friends. And that's where we close it. I wish I had time to say more. But remember, I'll see you tomorrow. All right? 2 more parts tomorrow, friends. And again, when the sun sets where you are, I wish you a happy Sabbath. Let's remain faithful. Like, share, so others can be awakened, prepared before it is too late, so they can implement the 5 keys of survival. God bless. The Lord is coming, and the protest continues. Maranatha.